Attention crew, it's time to make it so. Reporting for duty are your fearless co-hosts, Crewman PVG, bringing the logic, Crewman Mgyx, keeping it bold, and Crewman Tommy, ready with the photon torpedo of hot takes. From classic episodes to new frontiers, Klingon phrases to Starfleet trivia, no quadrant is off limits. So grab your tricorder, set your phasers to fun, and prepare for another warp speed ride through the final frontier. This is Technically Trek.
Laying the course, maximum warp.
Aye, Captain.
Engage.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
The time has come. It's Sunday. Welcome, everybody. This is the one and only Technically Trek podcast.
What's so funny?
I guess there's actually another one. Somebody had mentioned it in the chat last week.
Another Technically on Trek?
Well, it's not technically on
Technically Trek?
Yeah. So, well, based on what you just said, so people may not know that Technically Trek is a spin-off podcast of another podcast called Technically Unsound, which is in dormancy at the moment.
Hiatus.
Yes.
Man, just say it. It's the lower decks.
Well, Lower Decks at least has activity.
Oh, that's true. It's on a furlough, a sabbatical, so to speak.
So the name Technically Trek was basically just a play on Technically Unsound, which is our other podcast.
Which is why I always get it messed up.
Yeah. So apologies. Apologies if anybody else calls their podcast Technically Trek. Not that big of an apology, but you know, none
I'm
of
not
us
apologizing.
Yeah, none of us are making any money off of it. So let's just have fun.
Acknowledgement that you're out there.
Yeah, we're all out here just talking about Trek.
Yeah, because we got to celebrate our differences.
We're all Trekkies.
Whether or not you believe in Captain Kirk or not.
So we just watched. Well, let's introduce everybody. We got Crewman PVG.
Hey.
How
are you?
Our talkative guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Talkative.
He's
Not so
leading
much.
the show.
He's our official
intro.
signer. That's why he's so quiet. He's just sitting over here doing sign language. And as usual, in the middle is Crewman Mgyx.
The talker.
I'm not the talker, man. I feel like I take away too much, or that I'm talking way too much, that I'm not giving you an opportunity to talk. So that's why
the formula is working, so we'll just keep doing what we're doing because
the feng shui is there.
We're going in the right direction. You know, again.
In that case, I don't care about the other Technically Treks podcasts. I mean, do you, boo boo? But I don't think you've done anything in a really long time. And maybe, hit us up. Maybe we can collab, and you could possibly guest on ours, and see if we could help boost each other's.
Yeah,
maybe ours.
Like that one guy you had join us that lived in his basement.
Oh my god, dude, that was not even a. You allowed that. All right, so you can't blame me. You were the final authoritative figure on that.
I did. I did approve it.
So hey, all I can do is pass it up the chain of command. Chain of command approved it. Chain of command has to take responsibility for it.
That's true.
I will say this. I personally feel, and hate me if you will, I've been watching some YouTube videos, and a current trend is name your uncommon thought of Star Trek, your most controversial thought that you think people are going to think you're crazy of. And mine is Captain Kirk is one of the shittiest captains in the Star Trek franchise. And I stand on that.
Okay. Well,
We'll discuss it later. I'll give you all time to think.
Yeah. I mean, my real quick before we get into animated series episode 9. Mine is I think I've mentioned it before that I've always thought that Gene Roddenberry was a time traveler that just came back to this era and got stuck here, and he couldn't get back to the future, and so he just ended up writing stories.
Are you sure you haven't watched Stargate? Because
No.
that's a plot in the Stargate episode.
What, that Gene Roddenberry was from the future?
A guy from the future, or an alien, basically, time travels back and produces TV shows, and you're like, oh my god, he's so inventive, and it's groundbreaking, and it really isn't. It's just he's from the future, and then he gets memories from other people that live these adventurous lives. Well,
thankfully, I've never watched Stargate, so I can't be accused of plagiarizing that idea.
Yeah.
This is true. Stargate is a good show, though. You should watch it. They're remaking the movie. My whole thing with Captain Kirk is, though, he got so many people killed. So, for those wondering why I say this, I started watching the original series. I'm doing a rewatch. I guess that's the thing the kids call it nowadays. I'm doing a rewatch where you basically rewatch the series from start to finish. I've done this in the past with other shows. I've done it with TNG maybe twice. One time unintentionally. One time I actually intentionally did it. But I've done it with Voyager. I've done it with Enterprise. I haven't done it with... I just did it with Strange New Worlds up to the current season. But as I'm watching the OG episodes, because I don't remember a lot of them, because I would use it to put myself to sleep when I was insomniatic. I don't know if that's a word. When I couldn't sleep, I'd put on OG TOS, and it would put me to sleep within 15 minutes. I realize now that I'm actually intentionally watching this, Kirk has got probably 100+ people killed. Probably within the first 10
collateral
episodes.
damage.
And that's just some bullshit. It's not collateral damage like Picard is under attack and he blows up a vessel. I'm talking about Kirk has got his own crewmen killed. I'm not talking about the enemy. I'm talking about red shirts, white shirts, blue shirts, or not white shirts, yellow shirts. He's gotten his own crew killed. At least 100 of his own crewmen have died under his command.
Under his command, I agree, but the things that Kirk dealt with, no one's really dealt with before.
How do you figure that?
Look at
Mike dealt with them.
Nah, look at the first season of OG. They're dealing with nothing but like a bunch of omnipotents back to back to back. And those omnipotents, they're the ones that are just like, they have no regard for life. And the show writers probably didn't care about the extras.
I get the fact that, they're extras, and I get the omnipotent people, the early Qs. I'm gonna stand on that as well. All the Trelanes
Charlie,
are all early versions
Charlie X.
They're all versions of the Q, predecessors of Q. What I'm saying is, beyond that, Kirk got his own people killed. Go attack this place. But Captain, it's not going to work. Attack it anyway. Dead. Oh, the ship phasers can't go through there. Go ahead and beam down to the planet and see what you guys could do. Dead. No, shit that is clearly, hey, this ain't going to work out for you. If your starship can't make a dent in it, what do you think a group of 6 red shirts are going to do? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about decision-making like that, of kind of just throwing people at them as meat shields. Like, I don't get it.
Cannon fodder.
How about...
yeah, well, thank you.
How about Commodore Matt Decker? A doomsday machine. He sent all his planets or all his crew to a planet, and then the doomsday machine ate it up.
Yeah, same one.
Collateral damage.
How about the one where he transported everybody to the ground?
Right.
And then the civilization took over?
No, the Doomsday Machine.
The Planet Eater. Remember,
Yeah.
it looked like a big foreskin
Dookie.
Dookie.
or foreskin.
How about when?
Yeah.
How about Picard? How many people is he?
Hey, we're not talking about Picard. I got issues with Picard, but right now we're focusing on Kirk. Because Tom is all over Picard's nuts. So, I can tell you that already. But I'm talking about Kirk. Like, everybody's talking, oh, let's go meet Shatner. It's the Kirk. It's Kirk. Man, fuck Kirk. Kirk, you could beam on these nuts. I'm just saying.
Well,
Kirk, you got a lot of people killed.
I don't think he got them killed, but I think under his command they were killed.
I think he got them killed. You made it just like you allowed old dude and the wife beater living in his mom's basement in. You made a command decision. Kirk made command decisions. Just like Riker taught Deanna, the ship comes first, and as she sent Geordi off to die. Kirk has done the same thing.
Right. But back then, the policy may have changed. Here's the difference. I think the writers for Enterprise just didn't kill a bunch of people because I don't think they wanted to have to bring in a bunch of extras.
Yeah, but that's Enterprise. We're talking about TOS.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the writing has a lot to do with it. Like, the people that died, they were like, why did the writers make them die? Like, they could have just make them be injured, right? They didn't have to kill them, but the writers just think, oh, whoop-de-doo. Like, why not just let them die? Like with Enterprise, you see hardly any death because the writers for Enterprise, I guess, were just a little more, I don't know. They had a different mindset.
There was probably, like you said, an actor. I think that's kind of tapped into real life. I just remember when Enterprise was coming out, there was a lot of shit going on in Hollywood. Was that when the Weinstein thing rumors started going around? Like, maybe they were, like you said, they didn't want to hire a bunch of totally different extras. So if they just injured someone, they could hire those same crew to come back. They didn't have to retrain new extras. They'd be like, hey, you're an extra. You're getting paid $52 a day. Don't talk, don't look right into the camera.
Even when they went into the Expanse, like they hardly, I think they lost like 12 people. But I mean, you're talking about the most hostile part of the galaxy or whatever.
But you never saw who those people were, though.
Right,
So
you just heard about it.
I've lost so many people. There's a lot of people that are dead that you didn't see.
Right, because they didn't have to hire anybody.
Kirk just dead people just laying in the hallway.
Right.
Like Spock, clean this up.
I think Enterprise didn't kill a lot of people because the NX-01 has only the crew complement of 83 people. And
Enterprise has like 500, right?
The Enterprise OG has 430.
Yeah. So they had people to spare.
If they killed off people on Enterprise, they wouldn't have anybody left after a while.
I think with Enterprise, people were always getting hurt because people were always going to flocks, with serious injuries. I mean,
they didn't have inertial dampeners. Their dampener sucked. That's why I was like, why is 3-arm, 3-leg flying all over the ship? You got 3 arms, 3 legs, motherfucker. You're the most stable person on that bridge. You should be able to reach up and do whatever the fuck it is that needs to be doing.
And consider this. Nobody dies, and I'm going to say this with certainty before we're even done. Nobody dies in the animated series under Kirk's command.
There's people that died already.
Who?
We've watched episodes where people died.
Nobody died.
I'm pretty sure they died on a couple of the planets.
No, dude, they don't let people die in the cartoons.
Are you sure about that?
This is Saturday morning cartoons.
And Sunday
Who's trying
morning,
to die?
You know what? I need to find out. I need to look this up.
On Enterprise, Phlox has that ointment, that miracle ointment that T'Pol is always putting on Trip and vice versa, and
Or he puts a
OG.
leech up their ass and,
Yeah.
and then they're healed.
That Phlox is something else compared to Bones.
Phlox survived Borg implants. Or the injection. I think Enterprise puts a very high price on letting anybody die. I think I know a few of the people might have. Oh, there was one where a Mako died, and they made such a big deal out of it when the one Mako died because Major Hayes. Oh well, he died.
Yeah, Hayes died.
Shit, dude, Archer got a lot of people killed. What you talking? Archer got main characters killed.
Yo, we're talking about Kirk.
Kirk ain't
All right,
got. But hey, name a main character that Kirk got killed.
Spock.
One, just one.
No, just one of them.
How many
One
main
of them.
characters got killed on Enterprise?
Oh, how about even for today, his son.
He ain't a main character.
Kirk fucked around and found out.
His son only
killed.
appeared in like a few minutes of of a movie,
Look, he still got him killed.
and
Picard
they
didn't
never.
get his
Hey,
son killed.
no DNA
Picard
test.
didn't get his son killed. and he
Carol
got him back the
Marcus.
same day.
Carol Marcus was
Yeah.
just trying to get paid. She didn't. She didn't
just want
cough
child
up.
support.
Yeah, she didn't get no DNA test. She didn't 23andMe that shit.
She's.
She just said, "Oh, you know that dude's your dad."
Yeah, I'm writing on Kirk's name.
Yo, daddy, right there.
Is he my daddy, mommy? Who's
No
my daddy?
on-screen deaths occurred. The original Star Trek series had a higher death toll, with 57 crew members dying during the 5-year mission.
Well, that ain't bad.
5 years.
Over a
I'll take it.
79 episodes, right? The OG. That ain't bad.
Hold on,
That's
I
not
found
even
the
one
chart.
death an episode. He's averaging like a 0.77 on the death counter. I'm giving that like a 4.5 stars.
Look, still going with it.
All right.
Kirk can
Hey,
be mom.
I just watched an episode of Enterprise where Archer let the dude that invented the teleporter, the transporter on, and one of the crewmen got killed because of the spatial anomaly of the guy's son that was caught in the subspace buffer.
See,
And that just killed a crewman. Guess whose fault that was? That was directly Archer's fault.
no, that was, I mean, yeah, by letting that dude on the ship.
Yeah.
But technically, that dude killed him because that dude put that anomaly there decades before, because that anomaly is his son.
Yeah.
What you gotta say about that now?
No, it's still a command decision.
That was a good episode, though. So I do like that, and I would love to explore, like, if so. And we mentioned it. I mentioned it before. I forgot to put my badge on too. By the way, PVG, do you have a 3D buffer for the lower decks badges?
I would have to look. I am.
Those are pretty dope, and I just watched the a Star Trek documentary thing about the episodes, and Tawny and the guy that plays Boiler, like, yeah, we took our badges because, you know, they're the only ones in real life. Everything else is 2-dimensional, and they're pretty dope. They kind of look like
They
I'm
look like a
working-
regular badge. They look like a Discovery badge, but they're metallic and silver.
these are nice.
I'm working on technically Trek badges.
I can't see that. You're gonna have to zoom in. Where's
You'll
your
have,
zoom
you'll
in?
have to watch it on the YouTube.
I just used it on. I just made it with black filament, but I like to use
Okay.
a different color.
So that's what that badge. It's that delta, a little bit more rounded.
Maybe it's
but
this one. Maybe
but
this
think of
one.
it like if you put a. It's
Oh,
almost
shit.
like this one, but it's got a black background, and the part that's yellow on this is silver. and it's all solid.
I do like this small one right here. That's nice. I'll see if I'm going to try to glue a little magnet to the back.
You do like that small one?
Yeah. I like the small one. That's what she said.
I mean, I'm thinking we may be able to make some money on these. I need to look at how to create 3D files or 3D printing files, because of all the badges that I've seen, they're either metallic buttons or they're metallic with magnets. But if you wear them on a regular T-shirt, it pulls your shirt down, and they're heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine if you're going to be wearing a jacket, like a Starfleet jacket, or one of the uniforms, because those are all thicker materials, except for the OG ones, like the Command Gold ones. Those are really thin and polyester. But if you're just wearing it on a shirt like we do here, which I don't know why I grabbed it. Yeah, it just pulls your shirt down.
Right. No, I agree.
So I'm thinking that'd be pretty dope, and that's why I asked you about how much it costs, how much your 3D printers run. Maybe I should invest in one.
Yeah, they seem pretty
They're fun.
Yeah.
It is.
All kinds of shit. You get wrapped up in
guess what I also found out? Guess who was from Sacramento?
Sulu.
Nope, LeVar Burton. Jordy LaForge.
Really?
So there's literally a park here called the LeVar Burton Park, and there's like little, tributes to him around here. Some have to do with Star Trek. A lot of them have to do with Reading Rainbow and Roots. So
That's
I
nice.
did not know that.
You should go take some pictures there and send it to us. I'll put them on the intro.
He doesn't live in Sacramento now. I guess he lives in LA somewhere.
I don't know. I just saw that he's from Sacramento.
No, I'm saying he should go to the park.
Right.
Mgyx should go to the park.
But get LeVar on the podcast as a guest?
That would never happen.
Probably not. Not until we hit at least 100 subscribers.
That has to be way better looking and more charming and
What?
not bitter.
Real.
Kobe, wrong show.
Just be
motherfucker.
yourself.
what-
Celebrate our differences.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought about it. Maybe I should go find it. He didn't say it was
You can push it again to
not for his character. I keep every time you play that, I want to be able to play mine, but I don't have it. The closest I got is
That's pretty good.
China.
Was that a Bruce Lee movie? No.
no, it's from the Boondocks.
One thing about that episode that I got to thinking about watching that episode about the guy who invented the transporter was after that crewman died, after the crewman was killed, Archer confronted him, the guy in the wheelchair, the guy who invented it. I can't remember his name. But he said, look, I'm just trying to get my son. That's why I lied to you. Because he's stuck in subspace.
That dude, so as cool as that, it's Daystrom.
That ain't Daystrom. His name is like Eddie something. The guy who invented the teleporter is not Daystrom. It's a different dude.
Maybe I'm getting how they acted the same. There was a guy that was on Daystrom that was on Enterprise. Are you sure it's not? His last name was it Daystrom?
No, it's not Daystrom.
The robot.
Because that name would have been easy to remember.
So, thank you. You're right. That's why. So, Daystrom was on the OG episode.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, he lied to get on. And then he was like purporting his robot to control everything. And all the way up until the fucking end, where he nearly kills everybody, he's finally like, no, it's not its fault. It's okay. It'll be okay. Same thing with this dude. It was like, he was like bucking responsibility all the way up to the very end. And it's like, dude, you're about to destroy our entire fucking ship. What the fuck is going on? Oh, it's my son. He's stuck in subspace. We can only do this. Well, why didn't you fucking say that? We could have, got other ships out here. We got a support vessel. We could have done this, but you lied. Lied your way over here. You're lying all the way up. You lied up until 5 minutes ago, and now I got like a fucking possible warp core breach and something else going on that could kill all of us, which would have never happened if you had just came out and told the truth.
Was he locked in a transporter buffer? No.
There was some issue. There was some issue.
like-
He got stuck in when the transporter attempted to send the signal got stuck in subspace.
Right. So he was basically floating as McCoy's always saying, "Oh, you're gonna demolecularize me, and I'm just gonna be floating around space." That was the kid.
Oh,
He was
okay.
literally just floating around space, but in the area where he was at, he was able to keep basically the majority of his molecules around him. Couldn't solidify. He could partially solidify so he looked like a ghost, but he couldn't actually solidify to become a person until the end. And then, spoiler alert, I don't give a fuck. It's been over 20 years. They finally rematerialize him, and he's alive for like literally 2 minutes.
2 seconds.
And then, no, he has a couple lines, and then he dies.
Dad. And then what happened? And then he dies. I think he has one line, and then he dies.
It's very short lived. But again, that was Archer's thing. He still didn't pull a Kirk. I'm just saying.
What I was gonna say is, T'Pol and Trip were having a conversation with him in his ready room, saying, "Look, you're gonna get more people killed," because they had just lost one guy, where the subspace anomaly, this kid, I guess, had touched one of the other crewmen and killed him. And so they said, how are we going to prevent people from getting touched by this subspace anomaly? We need to just turn around and head home. We got to get out of here. And Archer said, no, let's help him get his son. We're here, right? Let's just do it. And, let's just help him for a couple days, and then we'll head out of here. But let's just try to help him. And, both T'Pol and Trip were very much against it. And this is what Archer always does. Well, for one, his senior officers tend to argue with him a lot. Malcolm always seems to have some kind of opposition. Trip definitely. T'Pol somewhat. Not too much, but Trip and Malcolm, and maybe that's their history. I don't know. And then eventually Archer just says,
anti-Sassback.
Archer eventually just says, "You have your orders, dismissed." End of discussion. Which, that's what he ought to do. But I feel like his senior officers tend to have problems with his decision making.
I mean, you got to have someone that questions your authority sometimes. I mean, it's not like you're... No, I get
it. I mean, it probably was a bad decision to stay. And there were some injuries. It's not like you had Romulans down your throat, or nobody was in real danger. But you're either fine or you're dead. There was no danger.
But you had other story arcs that were going on behind the scenes. But so yeah, they could be like, "Yo, we could do that shit, or we could make our way to this base that we need to get to without having to push our engines and hope nothing goes wrong, because we're already out of what was the coils they were always out of, where they're like, all right, we start out with 4. The first 2 weeks we lost 2. We got 2 left, and we're in real danger if one goes, we're down to 1, because then if one breaks, we're dead in the water." And they went on that way for 8 episodes. Why don't y'all motherfuckers stop, re-up, rematerialize, do whatever you need to do. I forgot what coil it was. Or was it coil over? Something. But yeah, Trip was always talking about it, and you wanna lollygag around with this dude. I would have been like, here. I don't think they had a shuttle.
Yeah, leave him a shuttle.
Here's a shuttle. Do what you need to do.
Good day to you, sir.
We're gonna send a message to the Vulcans and somebody else to come out here who ain't got shit else to do, to fuck around with this. But right now, we got the repercussion of dropping off this injured Klingon. We gotta go do the Zendi thing, whatever. Or we just, this ain't us, bruh. This is this is homework, and we're on a field trip.
So,
you
Warp
can
coils.
stay here.
Warp coils.
That's what it's called.
Was it the warp? No, it wasn't the warp coils, was it?
That's what Google says.
Well,
There's 4 warp coils.
I don't know. I just put in.
no. So
What was Enterprise always running out of?
in the previous episode, I think it was the previous episode, they were on Vulcan, and I think it was a 2-parter where the Vulcan High Command, the Sirenites, right? So the Sirenites were this group of Vulcans that believed in the old teachings of Sirach. Hello, chat. And so basically, Admiral, what's his name? Forrester? Who was the admiral that...
Forrest.
Admiral
Forrester.
Forrest.
Forrest.
Yeah. So he was killed saving the Vulcan dude, the Vulcan ambassador. I can't remember his name. And then so the Enterprise is there, and Archer wants to know what happened. So this is when Archer gets mind melded with that Sirenite, and he basically gets the Katra, I think they called it, which is the original guy, the original Vulcan, like
He
he
gets the
would be
soul-
like their Buddha. Yeah.
Yeah, of the original Vulcan who taught them logic and everything
Right.
else.
And then there's some artifact, that it's a myth that there's this artifact that Sirach left behind. And if they could just find that artifact, then the high command could steer, like they're going in the wrong direction as a society or something.
So, kind of like how this story is that you're talking about, this plot line, these are the episodes that I liked because these are the episodes you could put in a standalone series. Like, you could literally have, I don't remember if you remember the Star Trek shorts that were were coming out for a little bit. But, like, these
they were
are
pretty
all
good.
one-off series that could be, like, 3-episode series where you just go back and it's all about Vulcan and you see the story of this dude and how he became logic and all of that. And, it's kind of like a callback to that. Or how the dude who invented the transporter, how he came up with the idea, his testing phase, all that shit could be like a 1 or 2 story arc that Star Trek can cover and can keep things alive, but you don't have to make it an entire series about that guy. You just make it a short, like a 1 or 2 episode, possibly 3 if it's long, like the Vulcan one. Hell, you could tie that in with, have that story go along with T'Pol's, what is it? Something Creek?
The town in
Carbon
Pennsylvania.
Carbon
Yeah.
Creek.
Yeah, how that led to the Carbon Creek and,
The
instead
invention of Velcro.
Without having to rehash the story, you can pick up where it left off. Hey, well, we're picking up this group of people from Enterprise, and that can lead up to the whole here's First Contact, which obviously is the movie. You don't need to watch that, but one of the things I had mentioned on another show was showing the World War III, and not even World War III as itself, but the aftermath, the recoup. Because I just watched the episode, or actually I didn't even have to watch the episode. I watched a YouTube clip where Pike is telling another race or another civilization, like, hey, we gave you the tool, we made the mistake and gave you a tool that you don't need because your planet is going the same way ours did. And if you don't believe us, here you go. And he shows how it started out with, the second Civil War, then the something war, border wars, and then something else. And then it just became World War III. And then someone dropped a upgrade of whatever the nuclear bomb was, and it was like 33% of the population was dead, killed by that, and we slowly recovered. It's that after that 33% of the population, after they're dead, that's where I want to see how everything got pulled together. How?
Yes. I mean, I would be interested in that.
Contact. Because, like, okay, you made first contact. So how did you go from living in a camp, basically, just out there living out in the wilderness, off the grid, to building like Starfleet Academy, hover cars, or cars that, getting off of fossil fuels, building replicators? How did the planet get to that point? Other things like we talked about before about the whole utopian world, like how do we get rid of money and shit like that. That's all kind of cool and all, but I want to see the other shit. I want to see the shit that a real Trekkie wants to know. Is, okay, you got rid of money. Instead of money, you went back to bartering for favors. Yay, we kind of get that concept. But how did you make a levitating car? How did you make the impulse engine? How did that shit come about? How did transporters come about? That's what people really want to see. Nobody wants to give a fuck about, we a whole series about negotiating politics and all that shit. That's literally a 15-minute clip. The Vulcans came down. They said
it would have to be a 15-minute clip because it could never happen. So they would just have to say it just happened like they do.
Yeah, it could be a little 15-minute montage of how
it just happened.
They could say Starfleet came about from Space Force.
Oh, how did we get rid of money? We just did. Boom. One day we just decided money is gone.
And how did that happen? Maybe because after World War III, didn't matter if you had nuclear capability, we were all equal.
Because
everything
we all
was gone.
celebrated our differences.
Yes.
Also, what about the other space planet or space ventures? I mean, we talked about first contact because that broke the warp barrier, but Impulse, which is damn near the speed of light, was still there. What about the other space ventures? What happened to all those people beforehand?
We did Impulse?
Yeah.
We did Impulse before...
Impulse power is... So warp is faster than light travel. Impulse power is basically like pulse power today, or magnetism, or the equivalent of jet fuel. You can get almost there. You can get 80% of the way to, light speed, but you're not there. You
then we must have been able to do Impulse. We must be able to do Impulse before World War III.
No, that's the thing. That Impulse, all that came after World War III.
When was World War III with respect to Zefram Cochrane's launch
beforehand.
of the warp? How much? How far before?
That I don't know.
Because
that I don't know.
It starts to become unrealistic at some point.
So, and this is why I think it had to happen before, or obviously before first contact, but after World War III, because then how did Zefram Cochrane get everything he needed to make a warp engine to begin with?
Yeah, the resources.
Right.
So you would have to think that within like a 50-year period, maybe somebody had been working on it. I think
his was fusion-based when he did the Phoenix.
That's a great question because Zefram Cochrane, it didn't seem like he had a group of people helping him work on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
He had everybody in the compound there.
Well,
but they didn't. I mean, we don't ever really get to see what they did or what their day-to-day role was. That could have literally just been the remnants of JPL for all we know.
They celebrated their differences.
we never knew that because they had never focused on them. Yeah. They only focused on Cochrane. But that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of things that I think a true Trekkie would want to see, not the politics of it.
Yeah.
If they could make it realistic. Because we talked about this last time. One of the differences between Star Trek and Star Wars is fantasy. Nobody cares that the Millennium Falcon can go into hyperdrive, and nobody cares about the technology that does that. It just does it. With Star Trek, though, it's different. Like, everything is explainable. You know, like technology is explained, how things are built is explained, how things come to be is explained. So I think the problem Star Trek would have in taking us from World War III, where, 33% of the planet is, decimated, and we're basically knocked back to whatever age of technology. But somehow in 90 years, we can launch a warp drive.
So here's the reason why I say that. So look at the beginning of the pilot episode of Enterprise. In the pilot episode of Enterprise, Archer is making a model airplane model with his dad of an early version of, I don't know if it was Enterprise or not, but they have a little core engine that goes in there that just floats around. There's no propellers or anything. That technology right there is what I believe is what was built on a larger scale, came to floating cars, came into shuttles, mass transportation. That's where I think, like I said, like in Blade Runner and in, all these other shows where cars are just, they're levitating. But it's that kind of little engine. Where did that little engine come from? Granted, obviously it was done on a much bigger scale and then scaled down to be put inside of a toy. But that technology had to have come after World War III, or had been started before
unless
World
it
War III
already exists now and it's just a secret.
You know who I would like to do Star Trek? Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan, he did the trilogy, the Batman trilogy, and they showed how Batman became Batman, and not everybody knows that, how he became Batman, but how his suit was developed, his fighting techniques, all that stuff is Batmobile, where it came from. That if they applied that to Star Trek, that would be an awesome deal. So, Chris, if you're watching, let's do it.
Look, Chris, if you're watching, I'm gonna put you to task. And it's not to hate on PVG's thought. I agree. I think you would make a great trilogy movie series or series and restrict it to Section 31. Nothing else. You are great at doing dark themes.
The problem, though, is everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth right now for Section 31 movies.
And that's why you can, hey, look at what he did for Batman. Because you got to remember, this is coming off of fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Carrey and all those, the comic style Batmans that just went way too far. And he brought in a darker, grittier Batman. That's what I think Section 31 needs. I think Section 31 tried to be too much Discovery, too much Strange New Worlds, and too much Lower Decks. But then you put characters in there that already have a history in all these other shows that doesn't fit into that trope of characters. Section 31, yes, Section 31 tried to be Firefly, and they're not. You could have been a great show if you had toned down the comedy aspect by about 30%. But you didn't.
It needed a little more Star Trek, though. It was too.
That's why I said
it was too Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
If Nolan did it, you could make it a lot darker, a lot grittier. Look, man, just because it's a Star Trek doesn't mean you always have to do space shit. Like, you don't always have to be, he's on a flying garbage scow. Right. At some point, not everybody's got a flying car in Star Trek. Look, you know what? Look at Picard. I think Picard did it justice. Look at Picard and look at Strange New Worlds now for ship-wise, but Picard for land-based. A lot of Picard took place just on planets, just in buildings. Very little space. They had some good space battles in there, but it wasn't plot-driven. It wasn't overdone.
It was a good
and
story.
The campiness of, they are good actors in their own rights for comedic-wise. They're not good for sci-fi-wise. Like I said, they wanted to be too much Guardians of the Galaxy in there, and that's just not what Section 31 is. How are you going to come off of a show where they're about to kill everyone and be like, oh, well, we're starting Section 31. Let's go have a hooker, a cyborg, and what the fuck? That's just not a good look. But Nolan, I think Christopher Nolan would make a great Section 31, either 3-series movie or 1-season episode. Because I think if you go more than 1 season with Nolan, I don't think it would work out well.
Yeah, he could just do a limited run season, like a 1-season special.
Yeah, like a 10-episode season.
Yeah.
If you want to delve into a storyline or a portion of, Section 31 that, has a good story arc that's been bled over from a lot of different series, which I don't remember what it was. I was watching an older show and they mentioned Section 31. I was like, holy shit, I think this is the first time I've ever heard of Section 31.
DS9 is where they first mentioned it.
Was it DS9?
DS9 is the first ever mention of Section 31.
Well, I am in the process of watching DS9 now, so very possible. But yeah,
very emotional.
I think that would be pretty dope to see that happen.
Dope.
But yeah, as far as the old school shows, I want to see that nitty grittiness. I like Tom. I'm tired of rehashing the same story over and over again. I mean, and not making it clear.
You mean reboots?
Yes, it's a reboot. So a lot of people are like, oh, the Kelvin timeline is a reboot. It's not a reboot. It's a totally different universe. Yeah. It's a completely different universe. And you could tell that because the main Spock came back from that universe. It was crossed over. So obviously you could see that through the black hole. And there's other little bits to that. Unless you're a really big geek, you can't really tell. But it's something to do with Kirk's name. But same thing with Batman. We've had 3 Batman reboots. And I like using Spider-Man as a example of this. Spider-Man Into the Universe. They start out with regular Peter Parker, and it's like, all right, here's how it all started. And they get 20 minutes into the story, and another Peter Parker from another universe comes in. I'm like, okay, here we go again. Here's how it starts. And they keep retelling how each one of the Spider-Man main characters got their shit. And it's, a lot of people are like, well, that's just cheesy. Excuse me. And they were like, yeah, it is, but you need to know these are not all the same Peter Parker. There's Peter B. Parker, Peter T. Parker, whatever.
Peter P.
But at the same time, it's kind of like a jab at the movies, because you had the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Then you have the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And now you have the Tom Holliston? Is that his last name?
You're talking about the current Spider-Man? Like
right.
The kid?
Yeah, Tom something.
I can't think of his name, but you're right. It is Tom.
Right. So that's 3 Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Now you have the Tom Holland Spider-Man. And now they were talking about doing a 4th Spider-Man that brings in another totally different actor. You did the same thing with Superman, or you started to. Actually, no, you have. Because you had Roth from Spider-Man from Superman Returns. Then you had
The Witcher.
Cavill. Then you had Cavill as Spider-Man, which I think he did a great job. And now you have another new Superman.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, only a real true I'm gonna say nerd, but somebody who knows the story arc and knows the differences are gonna know that these are technically 3 different Supermen, but you're telling the same story again. Why don't you pick a new story?
Agree. Let's check out the headlines. Oh shit! What the hell?
Did you see what?
Fucked up.
Did you see what Crewman Sherry said? Yeah, but the real question is, how does Spaceballs fit into this conversation?
She's thinking of Star Wars.
So Spaceballs, really? Well, I don't know. So Earth is in Star Wars, and a growing possible theory is that Indiana Jones and everything that all the other things that Harrison Ford plays in is all fever dreams from when Han Solo is trapped in carbonite. Because Indiana Jones has hieroglyphs with C-3PO and R2-D2 in it. And what is the other one? Blade Runner has some reference to it as well. But Spaceballs would fall under Star Wars, not Star Trek.
And Spaceballs is hilarious.
It's a Star Wars
By the
parody.
way, they're making it looks like they may be making a Spaceballs 2.
Yeah. I can't think of Rick Moranis. I think they're waiting. They're waiting for him to say, "Okay, yeah, we'll do it." But who on Star Trek was also in Spaceballs? And he had a small line.
Something's wrong with my mouse. I can't move to the next slide. I'm trying to figure this out.
Crewman Sherry, do you remember?
Wait, who was on Spaceballs?
Oh, I see.
And
My Stream Deck was pushed up against my control button, and it was forcing my mouse to do nothing but right click.
Spaceballs and Star Trek.
Yeah.
What Star Trek was he in?
There was an actor that was in Star Trek.
The movie, TNG.
With Janeway, with
Voyager.
There was an actor on Voyager that was also on Spaceballs.
Princess Vespa.
No. And he had a small line. He was like an extra almost.
Who? Tuvok?
Yeah. And his...
Oh, damn it. And this is one I say all the time. We ain't found shit.
That's it. Yeah.
Totally forgot that. I was like, trying to do a deep cut. I'm like, who else is there? And I was like, son of a bitch.
I would see interviews with Tim Russ, and Tim Russ, he would say, yeah, I would be at conventions, and people would come up to me, and they really wouldn't ask me a lot about Star Trek. They would say, man, we loved you in Spaceballs, and it was such a small part.
But it was a lasting part.
Yes.
Because for one, for me at least, it was kind of cool because like I've only seen that comb that all the other troopers had, with kids when they get school pictures. That shit would never work in my hair. But then when I see that huge ass pic, I was like, hey, that's in my bathroom right now. I was like, that's awesome.
So we ain't found shit.
Yep, I can't believe I forgot that.
Let me clear my throat. I got some twisted tea stuck in it. All right. So the talk of the week, which every other YouTuber has talked about already, is the news that Paramount announced that Strange New Worlds is going to have a season 5, but that is going to be its final season.
I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's saying. But my argument is we don't know we're going to miss it yet because we still have 3 seasons to go. We still have season 3 coming up. We still have season 4 that they're filming right now. and then we'll have the final 6 episodes of season, the season 5 finale, I guess, the final season shortened. And I always think, look at a show like Heroes, right? That you thought, oh, damn, boy, this show could go on forever. And they just ruin it pretty much right into season 2. They take away Peter Petrelli's powers and it just got real weird. And that's what worries me about Strange New Worlds, with some of the bad writing that hit Discovery and some of the other newer shows. Is bad writing going to hit Strange New Worlds and possibly, make it to where we'll be glad that they wrap it up, in the 5th season?
That could be. They can go south in a handbasket. It's just that quick.
If they do too many musical episodes, then I'm going to be ready for it to wrap. No more of that singing shit.
I'm in agreement with that. The one episode, that was a nice nod to Buffy, but it needs to be done. I don't think Frakes, Burton, and I forgot what the director's name is from Lower Decks. I don't think they'll let it do that. I think they realize that they're on the precipice of the Arrowverse, that they can't just phone it in. And if they phone it in, people are going to hate them. And they're going to completely drop off, not want to watch anything that those producers are associated with. And I think that may be why we have such a long term between seasons, and why we only have these 10 episode seasons or 8 episode seasons, is because they want the writing to be on par for it. And I think that's one of the things that...
Yo, you good? What's going on?
I want to say the pandemic. I mean, this is one of the benefits of the pandemic. It forced these people to be like, look, these people are at home rewatching these shows. Like, y'all did a shit job because you rushed 26 episodes in a season. So you got 26 mediocre episodes instead of 12 really, really, really good written out episodes.
Yeah, but that's the problem. They're not really, really good.
Yeah, but now
and there's when you only have 12, I'll take one more. When there's only 12, well, and you're now being generous because nobody's ever had 12. They're all 10.
I am being generous. Yeah, you are correct. But what I'm saying is, then you had to deal with the new problem, which was the wokeness. The wokeness had a problem. That did fuck up some shit. And I'm not, like I said, I don't have any problems with accepting and acknowledging the various peoples, recognize your differences.
Diversity.
Yes, but when you start shoving it down people's throats and making it the plot point to a sci-fi show where it has no business being the plot point to a futuristic sci-fi show that is set in a utopia where the rest of the world is over that and they don't care, you need to treat it like your audience doesn't care. You can represent them, don't shove it down their throats. And I think a lot of the shows started doing that, and it ruined a lot of shows.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't just have a diverse cast. You had to make it known they were diverse. Like, you had to brag about it in the script somehow that, oh, by the way, we're diverse,
Right. Not only is she black, or not only are they black, it's a female. Not is she black and a female, she's lesbian. Not only is she black, lesbian, and a female, she's transgendered.
And she has Down syndrome.
Right. And she's partially blind. And
she's in a wheelchair.
With a fake leg.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, all that none of that was needed. And you know what's the funny? It is so funny that we went there because that just triggered a bit. Doctor Who did that.
Yeah.
So the last 3 seasons, so to speak, of Doctor Who
I just
had
said
a
one.
black transgender woman was not pushed. It was obviously there was one point they were like, hey, he's like, hey, what's to do with your mom, whatever, what's going on with school? They're like, they don't like it because I'm different. And he's like, yeah, fuck them. They basically dropped like a censored version of Bernie Mac's line of people don't like you for who you are. Fuck them. Throw them against the hall, super glue the lip shut. But they had a black transgendered woman play the doctor's companion for almost half the season, which is pretty normal. And then you had a disabled woman in a wheelchair. And it was like, okay, that's just a disabled woman in a wheelchair. It wasn't, hey, let me explain what you can clearly see as a disabled woman in a wheelchair. Whereas Star Trek and a couple other shows, what was the other one? Oh, Arrowverse. They pushed it. Hey, that person's in the wheelchair. Yeah, motherfucker, we all have eyes. We can see that they're in a wheelchair. We can see that there's something wrong with them. Okay, but you pointing it out doesn't help. It's kind of like the little kid walking through the mall and goes, hey, that guy's black. Yeah, everybody knows he's black. You don't have to point it out. So I think I think Frakes, and like I said, Frakes, I know the producer for, I want to say Lower Decks, said they were going to be doing some bits. And obviously the Strange New World's new one as well. I think they won't allow that to happen. I don't think they're going to allow it to go down. Because at this point, it's very likely going to be the last hurrah for Star Trek for a very long time. Outside, and that's if they even get to start filming the Starfleet Academy series. Because
it's filming. I think they've already wrapped. It's either filming or they've wrapped filming. But my thing is,
I don't take that for anything because you have an entire.
It may not ever hit the wave, the airwaves.
Because you have an entire movie that is completed, Batgirl,
right?
That is done.
They
and it's never going to be put out.
Yep, no one will ever see it.
I think this may open doors for Kirk. And who knows, maybe at that
Kirk
time.
Who? New Kirk?
New Kirk.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah, Jim Carrey. They say, Star Trek is done. That's
all right, here's my problem. And I know we were going to let you talk more, but now I'm cutting you off.
Because
now you're talking crazy. Now you're talking crazy.
Fuck that. I'm backing you up, PPG. Say what you were going to say. How is this going to open the door for Kirk?
You just want to make fun of him.
No. Right now, I'm thinking that. Oh, you okay? You okay? He's choking.
He's laughing.
Wrong pipe.
No, right now, the powers that be say, okay, we're going to end Star Trek at season 5, but season 5 comes along and the fan base is, they're doing a really good job.
Oh, they don't give a fuck.
Fan base are saying, yeah, let's bring some more in. They got that option.
This ain't 1968 where there's a letter writing campaign like they did with TOS.
Nope. And what'll happen is they will get maybe a made-for-TV movie and produced by Netflix or Amazon Prime. Paramount is OG. They don't give a fuck. When they say we done, we done.
Well, I think what's happening, though, is Paramount is being bought out by Skydance or one way or the other. And that's why this is all happening, right?
Skydance did the Calvin.
Yeah, nobody cares about, right now, Star Wars doesn't have a lot of social stock, put it that way. It's the Taylor Sheridan shit that Paramount cares about.
Well, are we talking about Star Wars or Star Trek? Because you said Star Wars. Get your shit together.
No, we're talking about Star Trek. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you said Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right, listen.
Alcoholic.
Listen.
All right.
Paramount doesn't care about Star Trek right now. Maybe I did say
No,
Star
they
Wars. And that's the fault of Star Trek. Their latest, well, the current, I guess, Gene Roddenberry is this guy named Alex Kurtzman, I think.
That's
And-
oversaturation of the market.
And
I
he's
agree.
he's not. I was watching the Tachyon dude. He said he doesn't even know if this dude Alex Kurtzman likes Star Trek. He's just
Why not?
he's just running the franchise right now. He's the guy calling all the shots. He makes all the decisions. So
Kurtzman, if for those who don't know, if you ever watched a show called Scorpion, which was a
no,
pretty
he's
cool
done some
show,
good shows. That's the thing. Is he's done good shit.
he left them. That's the thing. They never got renewed.
Yeah.
That's why I think right now he's like, okay, I want to say all the other shows he had pretty much just got killed. I think he's using this to be like, all right, I have a definitive end date. Let me wrap this up in a nice bow because everything else I've started and never got to finish. I don't know what else. I know he's on a lot of different shows. I want to say he definitely did Scorpion. I want to say he did MacGyver, the new version of MacGyver that came out. And possibly Magnum
Man in the
PI.
chair. Where's John B? We got no man in the chair.
Let me see.
I
Alex
messaged him.
Kurtzman.
Alex Kurtzman is the Scorpion show. Is that the guy that's he's really smart,
And he has no social skills.
social skills, and he's got a
And
bunch
it's got
of
Catherine McPhee.
and her son is
Yeah,
kind
like
of
autistic.
Yeah, all right.
He's a good artist.
That was a pretty good show. I thought
That was a great show, actually.
Huh.
It even had Terminator 2 in it.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's been a writer on all of these shows, executive producer on all of them.
Alex Kurtzman is.
Yeah, so he did
is-
Hercules,
Okay.
Xena, Jack of all trades, Alias, Secret Service, Fringe, Hawaii Five-0, Exit Strategy, Lock and Key, Sleepy Hollow, Limitless, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Shorts, Star Trek Picard, Clance, the man who fell to Earth, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
He got some good. He got
as
some
executive-
good. Yeah.
As executive producer only, he did Scorpion, Salvation, NSYNC, Prodigy, Transformers Prime, and Lower Decks. So here's the fucked up part. Starting with Friends, didn't really get an ending to that. Starting with Hawaii Five-0, didn't really get an ending to that. Lock and Key, no ending. Sleepy Hollow, didn't really get an ending, and if it was an ending, it was shitty. Limitless, not really an ending. Discovery, still in the works. Star Trek Shorts, just stopped. Picard, we got a closing. The Man Who Fell to Earth, I don't know if this is the movie or
That must
the
be outdated
show.
because Discovery's done. Discovery
No,
got.
it's still going 2017 to 2024 for Discovery.
No, I mean, but yeah, that's done then because it's 2025 right now.
But he's reading off of something that's
I'm just
already
reading
done.
off the list
Right.
of shit where he was the writer and executive producer.
Yeah.
So the thing is, majority of these shows never got an ending or a closing. And the
Well, that's
later
because on
ones-
network TV, that shit you don't always get advance warning.
I disagree.
No, I mean
So,
you
I've watched
sometimes
a
you
couple of
find out that
different-
that's it. That's
Right,
it.
but see, here's the thing. A lot of the ones, like I watched an interview with Frakes, and somebody else, one of the other dudes, I want to say from DS9, they were like, for years, we were writing these seasons, and we would always write the final, Stargate. They always wrote the season finale
Like it would be the last episode.
like it's the last episode. So
Just
that
in
way,
case.
if you did get canceled, you were okay. This dude doesn't take that strategy. Like a good majority of his good shows got canceled, and he was just like, well, I'll be back next week. And they're like, no, you won't. And it's
Well,
like you should have asked that. Like
he must have
what the
then
fuck?
just thought a lot of himself. Like he must have thought, I'll be back.
Yeah, but
I'll be back.
I guess
He
it all depends on the Nielsen ratings. I don't know.
Yeah, the ratings, man. You gotta get viewers.
So for producer, he did Star Trek Section 31. Oh, there's a new Now You See Me, Now You Don't coming out? Or is that a TV show?
That might already be out. I saw some previews for it.
I'll have to check that out. Oh, speaking of watching shit, before we get into the Guess Who, I watched 2 movies this weekend. I watched Sinners, which is a really good movie. And then I watched The Karate Kid Legends.
Okay.
Oh, wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. Wait, is that
Hey.
good? Because I saw some people say it was not good.
It's a wrapping up of
Okay. Sinners, everybody says Sinners is good.
Sinners is good. It was hard for me to get into the beginning portion of it.
Because it's a vampire movie, right?
Yeah, that part wasn't the problem. So like
Oh.
I have a hard time watching movies like Paranormal Activity, things like that, because I look for, after the first one or Saw, I look for the tricks and the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, if
Does
a
special
cup,
effects?
yeah, if a cup falls over, you know,
Is it still there like 2 scenes later?
right? Nobody really thinks about
Continuity.
that cup or Final Destination.
Or your
look
pants
for
still
those
wet
little
when you
things.
climb out of a pool?
So with Sinners, it's Michael B. Jordan playing the same role. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Let's see how they do this, because a lot of times they'll just put up like a fake line between them, and you could see where the divergent line is. And it was like, oh, you just overlaid it. And they kind of did that, but then they made the mistake of it being shot outside. So it's Michael B. Jordan right next to each other, but one has a like 6 o'clock shadow and one has a 10 o'clock shadow, yet they're standing right next to each other. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then that's just lighting on their face.
Right.
And then you look at the ground, and one dude's shadow is going this way, and the other dude's shadow is going that way. And I was like,
Well, the
oh,
director
come on.
couldn't control the sun.
You control that by shooting at the same time, at the same location, on a separate day,
Right.
or within 20 minutes, within about
Yes,
a half hour
quickly.
of each other.
All right, let's do this Guess Who. I only got a couple here. This first one should be very easy.
Tasha Yar. Oh, that's Balana.
Yeah.
Not Balana.
Roxanne.
Yeah, it is Balana.
It is. Balana.
Roxanne.
You don't have to turn out the red lights.
The next one should be just as easy.
To Paul.
Oh, shoot. See, Calvin Timeline. Can't think of her name.
Sabotage
That's it.
Girl.
Yeah, I can't think of her name.
I don't remember.
Yep. Jayla.
Oh, Jayla. I don't know why somebody told me when that movie first came out that was supposed to be Rihanna.
Maybe. She might have been too
Could be.
expensive.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's Nog.
Nog.
R.I.P.
He passed away, didn't he?
Yeah, 2019.
Yep.
But he was Nog, so he'll live forever. Let's do some quotes. You guys ready for quotes?
Quote of the day. My quote is, his mama called Clay. I'm going to call him Clay.
Anybody can do a smelling salt before we do a quote?
Here, let me do a boom boom.
Are we getting sponsored for this, Billy?
All right,
I'll
here we go.
I'll do a boomstick.
Oh,
All right, here we go. Get your mind right.
here, hold on. I got a boomstick.
What flavor is yours?
Oh, wait, that's my dick.
That's
you're
a
taking
tiny
too
little
long.
dick.
No,
dude.
it's a
I'm just
chapstick.
saying.
All right,
I'm just saying.
listen up. Here we go. Here's the quote.
Well, if you'll stop interrupting me, this is hardly a time to be teaching you the true nature of the universe. However, at Farpoint, we saw you as savages only. We discovered instead that you are unusual creatures in your own limited ways, ways which in time will not be so limited.
Q.
Well, if you'll stop interrupting.
Okay. Google Slides has a problem with that forwarding.
That was the first episode.
Well, if you'd stop interrupting me. I mean, this is hardly a time to be teaching you the true nature of the universe.
It was Q. Young Q.
I'm ready now.
Now you're ready?
Oh, fix.
Well, if
All right, let me go to 14. All right, ready for the next one? Here we go.
Captain, I seek only transportation in order to see and experience your reality. I am not a threat to you, your ship, or your crew.
There was time traveler to Picard. No, I'm just.
It's just the
Play it again?
traveler. He's just the traveler.
The traveler.
Oh, all right. Well, we already got the answer, so then don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Captain, I seek
Come on,
only.
next slide, damn it. Come on, Google Slides.
Captain, I seek only transportation in order to see and experience your reality.
Boomstick, baby.
That's the boomstick, man. All right, let's see if we can get to the next one. Stop. Ooh. Get your brains right. Here we go now. What component stabilizes a warp field during acceleration?
Wow, that's easy. I see. B.
B. Field coil.
B. Final answer.
The field coil regulates subspace geometry during acceleration.
Do you ever have to rebuild one of them babies? Gosh, takes forever.
I think that's what Enterprise kept running out of.
Which crystal is essential for power regulation and warp cores? The baryon, the argonite, or the dilithium?
I'm gonna go
Power
with dilithium.
regulation. Power regulation now.
I'm gonna go with dilithium.
I want to say A. Barium.
Dilithium.
That was so
The
stupid.
the obvious
That was
answer.
so stupid. You made that shit up.
What mechanism aligns nacelle output during warp recalibration? The EPS manifold, the plasma stabilizer, or the intermix chamber?
A. EPS.
Well, Magic's got to go
I'm
with
gonna
something
go
different.
with the mechanism that aligns in cell output during warp recalibration.
And
Fuck
it
it.
also lets you
Plasma
time travel.
stabilizer.
Oh,
I want to say intermix chamber, but I don't think
plasma
that's
stabilizer equals the flux.
it.
Voyager season 5
Got it
episode
right.
11 if you want the backstory on that. Which system controls automated docking procedures on Deep Space Nine, aka Tarek Nor?
A.
Taraknor.
You going A?
A.
Tractor lock, navigational array, or the mooring clamp?
The mooring clamp.
The tractor lock.
I had to
Tractor
go with
beams
something
guide
different.
vessels. Yeah, that's good. Always go with something different if we're just playing the guessing game, because that's more fun. What device permits phase realignment during interdimensional displacement? The subspace Manny, the quantum tuner, or the phase variance regulators?
That would be phase variance regulators.
Yeah, I agree. Because I was just asked this at work the other day.
It is the phase variance regulators.
Josh asked me that. gosh.
TNG, Season 3, Episode 25. Episode Transfigurations. They'll break it all down. I'm sure it's Geordi when he's not at his park doing reading rainbow stuff. What component manages sensor targeting for photon torpedoes? The optical subsync, the guidance matrix, or the tactical relay?
Guidance matrix.
C, tactical relay.
Okay. It is the guidance matrix. It directs torpedo trajectory and proximity detonation.
That's why I don't work on the bridge.
What part of the transporter system maintains continuity of the subject's form?
The one that didn't keep people alive.
The Heisenberg compensator. Say my name. Signal regulator or the pattern enhancer?
Pattern enhancer. Wait.
A,
Heisenberg compensator? And you're saying what?
I'm going to go with pattern enhancer.
It is the Heisenberg compensator. It compensates for quantum uncertainty.
that's a great guess.
Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 24. Second Chances, if you want to check that out. Which energy source was used aboard the Prometheus-class starship for multi-vector assault mode? A, the anti-proton core. B, the dual warp reactor. C, triphasic generator.
That was easy.
Triphasic generator.
Yep.
The dual warp reactor.
I meant dual warp reactor.
Yeah. Each section had its own warp core. That's pretty fancy.
On the beach.
What circuitry reroutes commands to alternate processors when the main computer fails? The command pathway, the subprocessor loop, or the optical subnode?
B.
Subprocessor loop.
Everybody going B?
B.
It's
The
the
strike
optical subnode.
Oh.
These handle data rerouting when damage isolates primary cores. Season 7, Episode 13 of TNG is where they explain all that. Fuzz on my mic. What device equalizes quantum phase variance in cloaked ships? The chronoton filter, quantum regulator, or phase coil? Or D, a
Chronoton
bubblegum
filter.
wrapper and a paper clip?
C.
A. I'm going A.
C.
You're going
I'm
C?
going C.
All right. The chronoton filter.
How do you do this, Magic?
How do you
Chronoton.
know so much about Star Trek?
He works in engineering.
What subsystem generates the initial warp field bubble? The plasma injector, the warp inducer, or the field initiator?
Field initiator.
B. Warp inducer.
Let's see who's right.
That could be one of the two.
It's the
but I'm gonna go
field
with field.
initiator. This begins warp bubble formation around a vessel. Enterprise, Season 1, Episode 11. Archer breaks it down with Trip. Which component processes subspace telemetry in long-range probes? The sensor spool, the transceiver array, or the field amplifier? If you're not sure, you got to pick something other than B.
I would say C.
Transceiver array.
My boom works better than your boom.
What redundancy system is employed in warp drive control to prevent core breach? The failsafe junction, the reaction override, or the intermix limiter?
C.
Intermix limiter.
Everybody going C? It is the intermix limiter. It prevents excessive matter antimatter intermix. Hey, guy. Which power source was used by 22nd century Earth vessels before matter antimatter tech? Fusion core, deuterium reactor, or the warp battery? Or D, gasoline?
gonna go with fusion core.
Yeah, me too.
I think I gave that answer earlier. Fusion reactors were standard. Enterprise Season 1, Episode 1.
See, how did they come up with the fusion core?
After World War III decimated everything and all the EMPs went off, I don't know. What system maintains constant artificial gravity levels across changing acceleration vectors? The gravity modulator, the dampening field, or the inertial compensator?
Let's see.
Inertial compensator?
A.
Gravity modulator. You changing your answer?
No, C.
It is the inertial compensator.
Yeah, I can go with C because you already picked it.
It's an OG answer.
You go into standard orbit and you forget to turn that thing on. You slam. You only have to do that once, you know.
What module adjusts shield harmonics to deflect energy-based weapons? A, the deflection enhancer, B, harmonic modulator, or C, the polarization unit?
C.
C, the polarization unit? You agree? Does
B.
Mgyx agree? Oh, Mgyx is going B, the harmonic.
I want B. I want to go
modulator.
C, but he already picked it.
It is B, the harmonic modulator.
Hey.
Bazinga.
Trust the gut. Season 6, Episode 1 of DS9. You probably just watched it and don't realize it.
No, I'm not that far in.
Oh, okay. And transmission.
I am currently up to whatever the one where Bashir's living through his own brain, basically.
Oh,
Yeah, that one.
damn.
Yeah, I don't know where my damn Paramount window went. I have way too many fucking windows open.
Oh,
Like I need to close. I definitely need to close.
I gotta learn a lesson with these beer cans or these twisted tea cans.
Not to drink so much.
No, we can't even leave them in here. So what I have to do tomorrow is remember to empty out the trash.
Why don't you
Because-
just put a
because
plastic bag out there, like
Well-
a trash bag?
No, I mean I got trash cans, but the gnats were drawn to them because the twisted tea. So what I need to do is I can't just let it sit out here because I hadn't come out here since last Sunday.
wait a minute. Is that because Crewman Sherry's not here? Or not? I'm sorry, Crewman Sherry. Crewman Patty is not here.
No, I mean I don't always come out here.
But when he does, if you know, you know. What I'm saying is, every episode, every Sunday, bring in your twisted teas. You can literally get go to Home Depot, get almost the size of a kitchen trash can, but an outdoors type. Put some ice in it. Throw all your teas in there. Drink them. When you're done, put the cans in the bag in the trash, and then take the bag outside of the studio.
Yeah, no,
So
that's what I need to do. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
about-
throwing them.
You're talking about coming
Crewman
back
Sherry.
tomorrow.
No, I have one can that's sitting right here. Last Sunday, I left it half full. That was my mistake. It was just sitting here half full, and a bunch of gnats got drawn to this area. But even in our there's two trash cans here, and one of them was full of empty twisted tea cans. But even when they're empty, there's probably still half a swig in there. And that was enough to draw gnats to the trash can. And normally I would come out here more often and empty that trash out. But last week, for the whole week, I didn't really come out here. And so the gnats just said, hey, we can hang out. No one's going to stop us. No one's going to take these cans away.
Ain't no stopping.
Crewman Sherry says, wait, what? Am I supposed to be there?
No. I don't know. No, that was just a name mix-up. I think Mgyx had mixed up your name.
You know what?
No, hey, don't get it twisted.
No, I
Mgyx
did.
did not
That was
make
you?
up
Yeah, it was
anything.
me. My bad.
I'm just not used to you talking.
There you go. See?
Oh man.
My name is Jeff.
We need to have a couch here so we can have an audience.
There is a couch right there.
Well, okay, a couch
Oh,
over
you're
there.
talking about an audience?
Yeah, I mean,
studio audience.
Yeah, so you know, we can have an applause sign. You know,
Yeah.
they can laugh or clap or whatever.
We can
No.
arrange something. But the problem is, how are they going to hear Mgyx talking? Because they would need headphones or something.
We'll pipe it in somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's you
I mean,
guys'
if they sat in the other area over there, then we could have like
Yeah.
a speaker with lower volume. But our mics wouldn't be
I'm going
allowed
to
to
point
pick it
out
up.
the obvious here.
What's the obvious?
The people that would watch this show would be on the show.
Well, yeah,
So-
that's a good point. We actually need them watching us on YouTube and not being in the studio audience.
Yeah.
And the people that are in studio audience that would go to watch it outside of family.
Yeah. Okay, well,
They-
Crewman
they-
Sherry says she will come hang out in the audience.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then we could get like
100%.
John B. from Oakville.
Yes. Yes.
So we got some Trekkies in the
John B
vicinity.
would have to be on the show. John B.
Yeah,
you
but
would-
he's
would have to
been
go
been
through-
MIA. John B, we're calling you out.
I
Are you
sent
sure
him a
John
message.
B is not the other dude from our
IB?
other show
No,
that
that's
got
IB.
arrested?
John. IB John.
IB is from New York City. And they've
No.
both been on
Oh,
at the
yeah,
same
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
So I don't think they could be the same person.
No, I'm saying the other one from our friend that from the Technically Unsound that had to go away for an extended period of time.
No, I don't think it's any of those dudes because those dudes didn't talk with any sense.
What?
So we had a pretty constant guest on our other show, Technically Unsound, and then it was like, hey, I may not be back for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and because he had to go do a bid,
He had to serve.
Oh.
he had to go to the clink.
The clink and the slammer.
Right. So I was like, hey, how do we know that didn't happen to one of these guys?
Lance.
Yep.
That was his name.
I was cleaning my pool earlier today, and I'm inside, and I have a TV out there, and I'm listening to Technically Unsound. You know, just I don't know, just see what you guys were up to.
We was up to no good, probably. Shenanigans.
No, it was
Bullshit.
interesting. Yeah.
It was the epitome of just talking. It's the epitome of what I call locker room talk.
Yeah. I mean, no, it was
Technically
cool.
Unsound was locker room talk. You know, I got no problem with locker room talk. I think locker room talk is funny.
And it's realistic. To me, it's realistic.
The problem is it's only funny to us.
Yeah.
Right.
But the stories you guys were telling, you know, I can relate to. You know, I've had life experiences similar to you guys.
Well.
You know, and
You're one of the few.
I enjoyed our time there. I think that definitely. And I was talking to Big E. I hit him up the other day because I caught the Diamondbacks at the rehab center when I was visiting my mom. And I'm like, that doesn't say Diamondbacks on their shirt. It says something else. I was like, but those are some pretty fire colors. I was like, well, shit, I don't have Chris's number because Chris would give me the lowdown on the D-backs. Like, let me hit up Big E. I was like, are the Diamondbacks still the Diamondbacks or are they something else? Because a couple other teams had been renamed that I didn't know about. But I was like, I definitely like that, the Diamondback. I guess they were a Nike Connect color, but it's like black and purple. It reminded me of the 90s Hornets.
I haven't seen him in a while.
But it doesn't say Diamondbacks. It says Serpentes or Serpitas.
Maybe they didn't want to offend the snake community.
I don't know. I didn't know if it was a diversity or DEI thing.
Oh,
but-
maybe they were doing like a Latin day where they just used the Spanish name.
I guess, but they have a totally different emblem.
Huh.
But it looks dope. Check it out, man. I was like, I would rock that.
Oh,
I
but
mean, it's a dope
you
Colts game.
were asking Big E about that?
Yeah, I asked Big E about that, and I was telling him, I was like, man, I miss doing our show, and I was like, hey, I see you're doing big things now. And it's like, yeah, you guys are doing well. I see that narrowing in on a niche was definitely what we needed. And it was like, I was like, yeah, your niece did your thing, and I see you got interviews with big names and whatnot, and now you're on multiple times a week. I was like, I'm trying to talk to Tom about doing a reunion show, but an OG technically unsound reunion. So basically, it would just be you, me, and him doing it.
Well,
Because I mean, that's what it originally started as.
Right.
It kind of didn't.
I get it.
I want to say it took off with me, Tom, and Big E.
yeah. I mean, we were the three constants, I think.
Right. We had Mike in the beginning. We had Joey. Then we had Mike. Then we
My
had Cremo
brother.
occasionally. And then we had Big E came on. Big E was our original man in the chair. He was
Yeah.
like an IB or a John B.
He's like a crewman
and-
Sherry.
Right. So then he came on camera and became a regular. And then we brought in.
I actually found the
Infinity.
first episode that he appeared in.
I want to go back. I want to go back and watch those.
I deleted
I
them
don't
all.
know if I could. They're all
I deleted
gone,
the whole
gone?
channel. Technically,
I thought
the
you-
old technically unsound is gone. So the only technically unsound that's left is the one I think where Infinity's part of it, like the newer mid
You need to
2024.
upload those under your own. Do you still have your regular channel, like for you?
I mean, I still have the episodes. I downloaded like 270 episodes.
You're not hearing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, do you have your own channel?
I have
not
a channel,
this channel,
like a channel
but
where I can
just-
upload those old episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can put them somewhere.
You should put so. You want to put those and then associate your personal account with this account because they're all you. But having a backlog of stuff definitely gives some credence to this, and especially like not tooting your horn or anything like that. But if you want to become producer,
Yeah.
you'd be like, look, I have an entire playlist of channels that I've worked on, and here's my technically unsound.
Like a
Here's my
portfolio.
technically Trek. You know,
Yeah.
here's my M3 one. You could just put them in different playlists. But
I
would definitely love
appreciate
to go
that
back and watch
suggestion.
those.
Yeah, I'll put up a couple of the good ones.
I subscribe to Big E's channel, Going Rounds.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I watched the episode where he had three other guys in his.
Yeah, his watch party the other night.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah,
you know?
I told him that he did that watch party, and there were like no technical issues.
Yeah.
Everything seemed to go really smoothly.
That was funny. There was one guy that was in there, and he was new, and he was experiencing the same things that I was experiencing when I came on with you guys.
Yeah.
And
You could tell he was,
good
he was not
time.
in his comfort zone yet. But
You eventually get to it. And like I said, that's why, and honestly, PvD, that's one of the things, like, I like the loose locker room talk that we kind of have here with this, but there's times where I'm like, man, I feel like I'm talking way more as a co-host to this podcast than PvD. I was like, PvD, you got to take the floor. It's your time to shine.
To a point, but then I think, I'm looking at the views, and I think it's a perfect feng shui that, you talk. I mean, it's working, it's,
well,
it could work
PVG's
better.
told me
You
that
never
you
know.
have a lot of knowledge.
you are, I don't know how you retain all this, because I guess I'm older and I'm senile and,
all right. How do I do this without?
You don't.
All right.
go ahead. Go ahead.
What year were you born in?
I'll be 64 in August.
That does not help me at all.
I was born in 61.
Okay.
So he was watching Kirk OG episodes when they
First
were
run.
like live when they were on NBC.
So you're only. Wait, you said you'll be 61?
I'll be 64 in August.
64? Okay. All right. So you're about Yoli's age. Okay.
His ex. He name drops like we know people.
Tom knows who it is.
I do know who it is.
What's
There's a
her name?
14-year difference.
She's
Yoli?
a Filipina.
Oh,
Yeah.
once you go Asian, you never go back to. Caucasian.
Well,
That's what
I mean,
that's if you have a choice.
that's if you're not. Yeah, never mind.
Or unless you have a bad taste left in your mouth, then you do go elsewhere.
So there's a 14-year gap in it. That's fine. No, I think
He just wanted to throw that in there.
How old are you?
See,
No,
this-
because I think
he
you
got
have
locker room talk in his head, and now he's doing locker room talk.
because I'm like, all right, I think you have a good insights on things and a different perspective. Because I'm basically the youngest out of all of you. Tom's a little bit older than me. Tom, you're what, 55?
54.
54? Okay. So you got almost 5 years on me. You got 14. So we are 3 generations of people. So yeah, we all have different aspects.
Yeah.
Like for you watched the OG when it was on the air for the first time.
On the big black and white 900-pound television on the TV, that tin TV tray, you know.
Right. So I got to watch reruns. I got to watch the second or third generation reruns after that. But, and to me, as a kid, that was the first time it was ever on. And then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't like when I saw Star Wars in the movies, I thought, oh, this is a brand new movie. And it was just the base replaying the original Star Wars A New Hope, and then we watched Empire Strikes Back the next week. I was like, wow, these movies came out really fast. And my dad's like, that first movie was years old. You weren't even born. I was like, oh, but we just watched it. And that concept of time did not click for me as a child. To me, it was brand new. It just came out, like Superman just came out. And he was like, no, you're watching Empire Strikes Back. That's a premiere. And it's only a premiere for the base. It's been out for civilians for months now. The base always got movies late as shit. So movie could come out in January. The base ain't getting it till
And
September.
you had to stand up at the beginning of the movie because they played the national anthem.
The national anthem. Just like if you're driving on the base and you hear taps, you got to stop, pull over, stand at attention if you're a troop, and face wherever the flag is at.
If in the morning, if I'm walking around in the school somewhere and the intercoms come on and they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance, I always stop, and
take off your
put
hat.
No, I don't wear a hat. Put my hand over my heart, and just respect. It's just
Respect.
I don't do that anymore. I do the stand at attention, put my hands behind my back type thing. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like I talk a lot and I don't give you a chance to go over it. That's all I was saying. We need to get your
he's going to
opinion.
start butting in, though. He's going to start butting in.
if I do, don't be offended. It's just
Yeah.
No, that's
he
fine. We
was
do
looking
that.
out for you earlier.
Yeah, because Tom tried to cut you off because he thought I was going to dog on Kirk, which I contemplated, but I was like, well,
No, that's
let me
cool.
contemplate this and let me let you talk while I'm contemplating whether or not I want to dog on Kirk some more.
and that's
But-
what America's all about. We can all have we can all have our different views, but that's what it's all about.
Yeah, but when it comes to Star Trek, though,
Yeah,
come
it's
on now.
it's my view and my view only. I'm kidding.
No, that's.
I think
I'll post some stuff up, but I think though our format here is very loose, and I guess if there were a version of like if we were in the locker room talking about Star Trek, this would be it.
Oh,
Every
this
now and
could
then we
just be
talk
us.
about gumbo.
Everybody else would be like, those guys are fucking nerds. Let's get some beers. And then we'll leave.
Sherry's got our roles defined.
Sherry needs to get on the couch and drink with us.
Yeah, she can come out, and I should have told her to come by and keep Riley company because Riley's been in the home alone now for over 2 hours.
In solitary, locked.
I mean, she probably doesn't know I'm not in the house because she doesn't leave her room. But
Is she in that Ank stage? Is she
Yeah.
playing Mike Chemical? Wait, did she dig in and find Crewman Patty's My Chemical Romance and the Killers
No,
albums.
no,
and
she's just playing. She's got a bunch of online buddies she plays with. They're playing games and stuff. But I'm about to go inside and check on her. That's why I was gonna say tonight would probably be one of our shorter episodes because I do have an unattended child in the house.
Yeah, but are they unattended really?
My kids, my daughter is going to be a junior next year. My son is going to be a junior in college. And that's all they do. They come home, they go straight to their room, close their doors, and I always threaten them, I'm going to take your doors off. You guys need to do something. And they're
but that's older. This kid is 10. This kid is 10.
You're telling me you weren't watching your little brother when you were 10?
Oh, I was watching my little brother when I was 8. We were home alone. But that was us back then.
Yeah.
You're in a more secluded area now. Back then, you were on what? Okinawa?
Okinawa,
you had the tribes running around.
Is that in Japan?
It's an island. It's Karate Kid.
Oh,
yeah, so you had all sorts of people around you.
Yeah.
Your closest neighbor is probably what, 2 miles away?
Yeah.
You got plenty of room.
But there's wild animals.
You have a house with 4 walls and a roof.
Well, all right. Well, there's dangers out here. Different kind of dangers.
Well, you have perimeter security and everything, and
that's true.
This would be a security test.
We got tornadoes.
If I were in your position, I would be like, let me see how long I can leave this child alone before she's like, hey, are you here?
Severe weather for the algorithm.
But I figure we'll skip our production meeting this week because of that.
Yeah, I couldn't really get away.
The dingoes.
Dingoes ate your baby.
Oh, Sherry.
All right. Well, let's closing thoughts of the night.
My closing thought. Thank you, Sherry. You brought up a point I was going to bring up earlier. Where the fuck are the animals in Star Trek?
Porthos.
That's a dog, and that's only at the beginning. You don't see any other animals. Of all the times they're on Earth, you don't. Starfleet Academy, you don't see a meandering cat. Like, when have you gone to a college campus?
We just saw one in the animated series, a cat on the bridge.
That's the animated series. I don't talk about real life. How come there are no dogs, cats?
The size of that litter box in her quarters. The litter box.
You don't see birds.
They have a litter box in the ladies' room.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Pussy.
What?
Beep. Huh? I don't know.
My friend is obviously Chinese.
There was a cat in the OG episode. There was. That's right.
We're talking about, like, that cat was a character. That was a shapeshifter. What I'm referring to is, like, on Earth, in the Calvin timeline, when they're on Starfleet, when they're going through the academy and they're taking the test at these shipyards where everybody's going out to the attack the Romulan ship or whatever. None of the other episodes where they show any Earth-like planet do you see animals like cats and dogs and birds. You see them as characters. Porthos is a character. The Dr. Evil Cat from the OG episode. Character. The
You're talking about just
series.
animals in the wild, just roaming around.
Animals, just like Mill Avenue. Think of any time on Mill Avenue, you could walk down Mill Avenue and you would see some animal at some point in time. A bird, a squirrel, a cat, a stray dog. Like, you just don't see any of that shit.
Well, let's give Crewman Sherry a shout out for knowing something Trek related.
Shout out to Crewman Sherry.
We allies.
Nanu.
I'm retarded?
Okay.
I wanted to
closing thought.
What's that?
What do you got?
I wanted to give a shout out to Josh, my boy, that Said I was a goat.
Shout out Josh.
Yeah, whatever that means. Don't forget, I don't know what, I'm old and don't know what that means.
It means you like
don't
to
know what
have
goat
sex with
means?
goats.
Oh,
Well, you gotta marinate the goat in buttermilk for at least 12 hours, and then slow cook it.
but not in a microwave, in a crock pot. 'Cause
No, on the grill.
on a grill.
Yeah, we
Smoker?
usually smoke. You can use a smoker or just a slow roasting grill, kind of like
Pellet-
roasting a pig.
Pellet
You roast
grill
a
or
goat.
no?
We use charcoal and wood chunks, but it was cool the first couple of times, and now it's gone the way of smoked hog or hog roast. I can't stand them. Like I'm over it. They're all right, but everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna make pulled pork sandwiches." I'm like, I'm so over that. You just don't get good flavor.
I have a pellet grill. I'm sorry, a pellet smoker. And I do pork butts, 3 or 4 pork butts at a time. And the way I do it, I have these 4 metal tubes and it's perforated. And I've got pellets in there, so they're underneath there smoking besides the pellet grill doing its thing. It is
Right.
awesome.
See, you, Mgyx, and Big E could have a grilling podcast.
Oh,
We could. I mean, I want to get a pellet grill, but yeah, I would do that later or not now.
mine is Wi-Fi. You know what temperature it is, how much smoke you're getting.
You got one of them fancy grills.
Yeah, it's a camp.
That's out of my
camp chef.
pay. That's out of my pay grade.
I'll get you.
But
one.
now I
buy you
realize
one.
now.
If you were
Now
here,
that
you
I-
could just use it.
Yes.
No, can't do that. Everybody always says that, and until you're someone who knows me, you know I can't do that.
True.
Infinity,
Because he'd
said
get
that.
a Camp 8 seasoning all over
Hey.
all your shit.
Infinity's like, hey, if you want to come over and use my screen printer or the 3, yeah, just come over and do it. I'm like, no, I can't, because I'm the type of person that if I get an idea in my head at 2:30 in the morning and I can't get it out, I've got to put it to paper. I got to put it in the computer. I got to graph it out. And if I'm doing that, I might as well print it out. That's the type of, and so I have literally before, I used to throw midnight barbecues.
Well, if you don't mind the dingoes attacking you, PVG, you could probably drive up to his.
Magic.
Nah, he would be annoyed. He'd be like, "What the hell is who's grilling right now? It's 4:30 in the fucking morning."
Mgyx. I used to work third shift, and I would come home, and I would be grilling at 7:30 in the morning, drinking beer, and people would look and think, "What is the matter with you?" Thinking, "Hey,
yeah,
it's
I did that
5
work in
o'clock
second
sometime."
shift.
Yeah.
I get off work we got home from the bar at 2. We got off work at like 11:30, 12:30. Got home from the bar, and then we're like, we're hungry. Fuck it, let's just barbecue. And I would have literally midnight barbecues at 2:00 in the morning. But that's how I am. And that's why I went with a propane, is because
Propane.
it takes too
propane
long to
accessories.
light up
Right.
to get a grill going just for one steak.
I have
So-
a propane. I grilled some chicken today, this afternoon.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would
but-
much prefer the taste of charcoal and all that. That was another thing. Do real people cook in Star Trek, or do they just replicate?
No, replicate.
That's just nasty.
Well, Pike cooks in Strange New Worlds.
I would have to
That's
taste
Pike.
it.
That's older.
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
talking about.
I'm talking about like TNG and above. Because you know how Cisco was
You're
always
talking
saying my
about
dad
after
had
Kirk.
that. Yeah.
Can you imagine,
Because-
though, the replicator, you dial that baby in just the way you like it? Oh,
That would be awesome. But are you really tasting that cherry hickory flavor? What is that chemical?
Hickory might be
that's making that?
Oh,
extinct.
yeah, well, I'll have to try it first.
Yeah,
Like,
try
I
it out.
literally thought of that theory in Star Trek when I was doing my Camp 8 seasoning, and I made the jalapeno one because jalapenos are fruit. But then I was like, what is mesquite? How do I get mesquite as a flavor that's edible? I know there's mesquite wood, but obviously I can't grind up wood and put it in seasoning. I was like, what
You
about
could.
hickory?
Why can't you?
I don't think the FDA would allow that.
What if you cooked it?
I use pecan.
It's just a plant.
See, pecans you can get by using pecan nuts. Those are naturally edible. But hickory, there's no real fruit or anything on that you can eat. So that's all I was wondering. How do you get the flavor of hickory and all that, or oak, into a seasoning that is edible? And then I thought about, well, how would they do it on Star Trek? And I was like, well, shit, for a jalapeno, you can dehydrate a jalapeno and then grind it up.
No, they
Same
would
thing
just
you would do now.
resequence it as a protein flavor.
It's chemicals.
Yeah.
As what it finally came down to was chemicals.
Chemicals.
There's chemicals that taste like it.
Was that your closing thought?
Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so keep an eye out for more shorts. I thought about putting out the false short and just having a thing that says this is why you never, starting it off with, this is why you never trust Chat GPT to write.
You should. I think it's always helpful to do your homework, your own research, not depend on Google or whoever. It's just.
I would if you shot it. I know you've already shot it. If you can reshoot it, I would do like have Crewman Patty be like, oh my God, I didn't know this. Act like it's for real, and then be like, psych, it's not. ChatGPT gave us this bullshit. Never trust it. Damn computers are taking over.
Because it's a good short otherwise.
Right.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
All right.
But I would definitely. I was going to mention that may be a kind of a cool thing to do. There's a lot of people that do unwritten cameos in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And to have that be like a quick little snippet, a quick little short.
Well, people have already done all the research. Like anybody who's somebody worth mentioning, like there's a record now. They may not be credited in IMDb, but in like one of those Star Trek Wikipedia sites, you can find.
I use Trek Culture, part of What Culture.
Yeah.
They do a whole bunch of different videos on Who Culture, Trek Culture, and whatever.
Yeah.
They have a lot of videos on theirs, and I realize there's no rule against stealing an idea.
No.
Taking someone else's idea, redoing it. So
It's just like the wheel,
this is true.
It's the wheel. But all right, I got to go in and check on my kids. So we are going to wrap it up early. I wouldn't say early. I mean, we're like 2 hours in.
Don't check on her.
Hey,
just walk in, start watching TV.
One last
and
thought.
wait till she comes out.
One last thought. Crewman Tommy, you need to work on a couch for Crewman Cherry and others.
Got a couch right there.
Okay. There you have it. There you are.
There's a love seat and a side chair. I've got these white stools. I've got 3 of them, so we could even have an audience right here. And
So you're trying to do like a whole cast interview.
We got main chair, second co-host spot.
There's a refrigerator, kind of, sort of.
There's a fridge. There's the pool, so they could go out. They could jump in the pool, come back in, catch the episode. I'll put a TV out. Actually,
real world
you know what? I could put the TV.
affection.
I could put a TV outside at the pool.
There you go.
They could be watching the live episode from the pool.
Mgyx, that's why you need to be over here.
I'm too
when
big
you're
to be getting in
able.
people's pools like that.
Weekend trip.
I'll wait for after the show to ask you this next question, but I don't think you should check on her. Just walk inside and we'll see how long it takes for her to come out and check on you.
Oh yeah. No, she probably won't come out. If she needed something, she would probably already text me. So I'm sure she's fine, but
that is a sign of the next Gen X Part 2.
Yeah.
Because she's showing definite Gen X
Gen
sign
A.
of I don't need you. I can do this on my, not that she don't love you.
Gen
but,
X remix.
Exactly. Remix.
The Gen XA. Okay. We will wrap.
And see you all next week.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next Sunday. And I was gonna say, don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We definitely appreciate that. That way you don't miss shorts and other what I want to do is start coming out with some of the news. So I have subscribed to more Star Trek related terms on Google Alerts, but there's so many of the same stuff right now. So it's like the whole announcement of the season 5 being the last, that's just like flooding the Google Alerts. Like I come back and there's like 50 new Google Alerts, like every comic book website, everybody's reporting on this same story. So you just get kind of numb to it. Now you're just like, ugh.
I think it's all marketing.
How about we start putting out like thumbnails or brief announcements like DS9 is on air for the first time and be like, next week on DS9, Cisco does this. Oh my God, will they survive the Dominion War? But you put it out like it's like a teaser or like a, I forgot what it's called, like a flash.
Yeah.
But it's like DS9's on air for the first time.
On Pluto.
People would be like, what the fuck?
If you
DS9's
don't want to
on
pay
there?
for Paramount Plus, here's how you can watch Star Trek.
I've already gone over that one.
Yeah.
Pluto.
All right. Cool.
Nanu, thanks for coming out. Everybody like, subscribe, and share.
Yep.
And
shout out again to Josh for jumping in the chat. Of course, Crewman Sherry. We are allies to your lifestyles.
You need to unlock the chat. That's what I was going to tell you.
Unlock
the chat is only available to subscribers.
That's right.
Oh,
that was done on purpose.
Right.
Yeah. Subscribe,
Cool
fam.
Are we getting bots?
Subscribe.
What?
What?
That may be a turnoff for some people.
No, they can subscribe.
Yeah,
It's free.
yeah, it's free.
Hey,
No, I don't want to
subscribing
subscribe to
is
your
free.
channel just to leave a. I want to see if you're going to respond to my regular chat first, then I'll subscribe.
We do, but people see that we are very receptive. I even put chats up on the screen.
Yeah, okay. I'm just
We're
saying.
receptive, fam. Fam.
We got to celebrate our differences.
All right, we're gonna wrap now. Thank you, everybody. Nanu. And we'll catch you guys next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Peace, love, and hair grease. Nanu.
Adios.
Let me know when we're clear.